Hi, everybody. Welcome to a Garden Club of Jacksonville vertical gardening program. Horticulture Corner tonight, vertical gardening with JoAnne Krestul and a wide array of other speakers from all points of the country who will be joining us today. My name is Denise Reagan. I'm the executive director of the Garden Club of Jacksonville, and I'm here with Damian Lamar Robinson, who is handling all of our camera and audio and various other Zoom activities today. We're very happy to have him back with us. I'd like to thank the Jesse Ball DuPont Fund, whose generous grant allows us to do hybrid programs just like this. And the hybrid program that we are doing at the Garden Club is part in person. So we have a live audience here in the Garden Club and then a Zoom audience out there from all over. And literally our audience is from everywhere today. We have people from Tennessee and Seattle and all over Florida and every point in between. I'd like to thank our Horticulture Corner Chair, Brenda Daly. She has helped us put together a great series of programs this year. We have more coming up that I'm going to tell you about right now. We have the Rose Therapy program that is coming up March 2nd with Pam Greenwald. She is a great rose gardener, and she works with veterans who have PTSD and other issues and teaches them how to grow roses and builds a sustainable business out of it. It sounds like a really fabulous program. We're very happy to have her. That's March 2nd. And then we have Nicholas Freeman. He is a fantastic native landscaper who's worked with the ICSIA chapter of the Florida Native Plant Society, and he's going to talk about the 2 native parks that they have put together in the Riverside Avondale area. So that's on April 13th. So please join us for that. I would not be doing my job as executive director of the Garden Club if I didn't say to all the people who are joining us out in Zoom and everybody out there that if you are not a member of the Garden Club of Jacksonville, why not? It's a great opportunity to become a member and to join lots of people who care about the same things you do, like making greener spaces, growing fresh fruit and vegetables, and just being a better neighbor and inhabitant of the planet. So please consider joining the Garden Club. We really need you. And we'll be putting some information about that in the chat. It is time for us to elect new board members, and so we are looking for nominations. You can self-nominate or nominate someone else. So if you are a member of the Garden Club and you love all the things that we stand for, why don't you think about joining the board? And Damian's going to put a link to that in our chat. All right, so now we're ready to get our program started. I want to introduce JoAnne Krestul. She began growing vertically 6 years ago and providing her family with good nutrition with the ease of aeroponic gardening, and has truly become her passion. She is joined today by several colleagues, both here at the Garden Club and on Zoom, to share their experience with vertical gardening. If you have questions about today's program, please put them in the chat if you're on Zoom. We'll also have a handheld mic that we will pass around to those in the audience here at the Garden Club. And so please do that, and we will pose them to the speakers at the end of the program. Okay, so now I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can go to JoAnne. And there we go.
Thank you. Thank you, Denise. And thank you so much to all of you for coming out tonight, and for those of you on Zoom tonight joining us too. This is our first opportunity to be back live with people this evening, so we are super excited. Vertical gardening is my first time ever growing food that we eat. So I know a lot of you have probably many stories to share and many years ahead of gardening at home, and we'd love to hear all of those. And so again, any of you in Zoom, please share some of those stories with us tonight via chat and that, and then hopefully afterwards we'll get to hear some of your thoughts and questions too. I am excited tonight to be introducing a few of my friends. Anna is here with me in the ballroom, and then I have several friends that are going to join us on Zoom too. One of them is my friend Beth, who's in North Carolina, who's going to share a little bit tonight about indoor tower gardening. And then my friend Sari is actually in Atlanta, and she'll be helping with some of the chat questions as well, and with some of the open questions at the end of our presentation. I wanted to take a minute to and just thank the board of directors here. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Damien, and also to my sweet friend Tiffany, who is in the back, who recommended us for this program tonight. I definitely have a true passion for vertical gardening, and I'm excited to share my story a little bit later in the evening tonight. The most amazing thing about the gardens is that they can be customized for any needs, and so that's what we're going to be sharing a little bit with you. So in that, I am going to introduce you to Anna Washington. She's going to explain a little bit to you on how the actual tower garden works, what comes in your kit, and share some of the reasons she's enjoyed so much growing with it.
Hello, thank y'all so much for having us here tonight. I'm going to start by telling you just a little bit about why I have fallen in love with the tower garden. I actually, about 2 years ago, determined that I needed to make a change in the way that I was eating. My joints were actually achy. I had kind of a loss of energy and things like that. So I researched kind of a whole food plant-based type of eating, and I changed my way of eating to eating mainly plants and fruits and things like that about 5 days out of the week. And just that increase in fruits and vegetable intake made a huge difference. I actually lost weight. My joints stopped hurting. I had more energy and things like that. And then JoAnne introduced me to this magnificent tower garden, and I absolutely fell in love. That was actually a game changer for me. Just to be able to walk out your back door, grab a handful of lettuce, a handful of tomatoes, and be able to go inside and make a salad and make fresh nutritious meals for your family was huge. And also to know that our hands were the only ones that were on it. It had not been shipped 2,500 miles across country. That to me was huge. So just some of the highlights about the tower. It is so easy. Once you put it together, it takes 10 or 15 minutes to put it together. It is so easy to grow. You actually plug it in. You put it in the sun. It needs about 5.5, 6 hours of sun a day. It's actually aeroponic, so it uses mainly oxygen and water, or only oxygen and water. There's no dirt with a tower, so you're not bending over, you're not having to till, you're not having to weed. And actually, I don't know if you can't really hear, but it's actually watering itself as we speak. So you don't have to go out and water it unless it's time to kind of refill the basin. But there's 20 different ports on the tower. If you're like me, I wanted to go up. I wanted to go a little bit bigger. So I actually customized my tower. I added an extension kit, giving it 8 additional sites to grow. And right now, if you could see my tower, it is huge. I have 2 very large cauliflower plants, 2 very large broccoli plants growing on it, amongst other things. I brought a little show and tell. I actually have a huge cauliflower right here that I cut off just a couple of days ago. So we will roast that up and enjoy. I also brought I believe it's called an aura pepper that I picked this week, as well as some sun gold tomatoes. And again, everything that comes off the tower is organic, vine ripened, and is absolutely delicious. You can grow 75 different things with the tower. You can grow not only flowers and herbs and things like that, you can also grow just a tremendous amount of vegetables, fruits. You can grow watermelon. I've actually grown a watermelon before, and it was a little bit like a Jack and the Beanstalk scenario, kind of running down the drive a little bit, but it was quite fun to watch grow. The good thing about the tower too, whenever you, once you get your seedlings in the tower, things grow about 3 times faster. So you will be harvesting and enjoying your fruits and vegetables and produce that much quicker than, instead of in the ground. So I'm going to go over some of the components of the tower garden, and everything that you need in order to get growing comes in one big box. So if you can see the tower behind us, there's actually a 20-gallon reservoir, and the reservoir will hold the water and the nutrients to get started. There's also I have my little show and tell here as well, a small submersible pump that goes down into the basin. This actually pumps water up into the tower, and once the water and the nutrients are in the tower, they will sprinkle down on the roots that are hanging in the middle of the tower, giving it nutrition and helping it to grow that much quicker. The tower garden also comes with timer so that it knows it will turn on. There's actually the new timers will, there's an outdoor setting as well as an indoor setting. And so the outdoor setting, I believe, is now 3 minutes on and 12 minutes off. And this is actually a flex tower. So this tower can go either outdoor, mine at home is outdoor, or it can also be flexed and grow indoor with indoor lighting. There is an easy, it's actually on the back of this tower right here, but there's an easy access port. So when it comes time to add water and add nutrients, you just take the little lid off and add that in and put the lid back on. So it also comes with a mineral blend, and these are mineral blend A and B, and these are actually specifically formulated for the aeroponic growing. There's also, it comes with a pH test kit so that you can test the pH to make sure it's within the optimal level, as well as the acid and the base to be able to lower and raise the acid or the pH to make sure that your little plants are very happy and growing. It comes with the seed starter kit as well. So there's about 5 or 6 different seed packets that come with the kit as well. You can either grow from seed, I have tried that as well, or you can grow from seedlings. So the if you're growing from seed, you would actually use the Rockwool. And I know our friend Beth is going to talk about that a little bit more, but it comes with the Rockwool and the vermiculite, as well as a germination tray. So everything again comes with it. If you're growing from seed, you would put the seeds in the Rockwool, put the vermiculite on top so that it holds in the moisture. And then in about 2.5, 3 weeks or so, maybe a little bit longer, you would have a seedling that is ready to go in your tower. You can also order the seedlings, or there is a seedling provider here in town as well that you can, it comes about 3 inches tall and it will go directly into the tower. So once your seedling is ready to go in the tower, you put it in the net pot, you pop it in the tower, and off you go. In about 3.5, 4 weeks, you might not have this magnificent little treasure right here, but you will be eating off your tower. It's amazing how quickly things grow. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to my friend Beth, who's going to tell you about the indoor tower.
Hi, good evening. This is so exciting. I am so excited to see so many people here to learn about vertical gardening. My name is Beth LaQuire, and I'm actually in the mountains of North Carolina, where it was 32 degrees today and there was snow on the ground when I got up. And as you can see behind me, I am growing indoors. This is our light kit. It has 4 beautiful LED light strips that attach to the top of the Flex garden. We have 2 different kinds of Flex in the home, and they are incredibly energy efficient. They don't cause any rise in your electric bill, and they're beautiful. It's a very state-of-the-art design. They can be pushed in to be closer to seedlings or raised out if your plants get very large. It comes with its own timer, so everything runs on its own. You don't have to think about anything. The water comes on its own, and the lights come on and off on their own as well. You want them to be on for about 14 to 16 hours a day to get really beautiful plants. And as you can see, I'm in my studio out in the backyard, and it's only 12 by 12. And this tower just fits very nicely in the corner of my room and doesn't cause me, to take up any space. So it uses 90% less space than the way you would normally garden. And if this still looks like it's too big for you, being only 36 inches across, our tower garden home is only 24 inches across. And actually the beautiful addition to your kitchen so that you can clip your herbs or your greens or whatever you're growing right before you decide to cook it, and it will have the optimum amount of taste and nutrition because it's been allowed to stay on the plant until right before it's eaten. And I didn't harvest recently because I thought this looks so beautiful. I wanted you to see how beautiful it is in all its glory, but it is time for me to start harvesting off of some of these greens. And it looks like I have a green thumb, but I do not. Until 3 years ago, I had literally no luck at all with growing food. I can grow flowers, I can do that. But in our area, by the time you get done with the rabbits, the raccoons, the plethora of small animals and bugs and deer, you have to build a fortress around your garden to grow something. And when I was done with that, I was either overwatering, underwatering, or overfeeding or underfeeding. So this does everything for me. I don't have to think about if I'm overwatering or underwatering. It tells you exactly how many, milligrams of nutrients go in per gallon of water. So it's honestly little or no effort. It's as easy as you think it is, honestly. What I'm growing right now, because I'm indoors, are a variation of greens. It's recommended when you grow indoors to kind of stick to things that don't fruit. So I can grow bok choy and chives, every kind of herb imaginable. This is cabbage, and I get nervous and the words go away, but I have every assortment of lettuce you can imagine on this tower. And the beauty in it is that the way we harvest our food is from the bottom of the plant, and then it can continue to grow and provide us with more food. You don't have to go out and lob off a whole, head of greens and bring it in the house and then hope that you can eat it fast enough before it wilts. This you get to harvest as you eat. So it's always fresh, it's always delicious. And I had no idea before I did this that lettuces have an aroma and that they're supposed to feel good in your mouth. Just, it floors me how wonderful this is. One of the things that you do have to think about is minding your rotation of your crops. These plants are full grown, and before too long, they'll have done their job and it'll be time for them to retire, and I'll put in a new seedling. So I always have seedlings in process so that I have some to go in, and they're remarkably easy to grow in our Rockwool. And our Rockwool is an eco-friendly rock fiber. There's no dirt in here. This is just fiber spun from rocks. I think this is spun volcanic rock. And it provides plenty of oxygen and room for the roots and consistent moisture for rapid growth. Stripping. I have a towel down here. And on the inside, in between the plants and the top, we put vermiculite that Anna mentioned comes with your tower. And if I look over here, I'm reading. Vermiculite is hydrated laminar minerals, aluminum, iron, magnesium silicates that look a lot like mica, but they're not. They are processed with massive heat that causes them to expand into an accordion-shaped pellet. And that pellet is composed of layers of thin plates that can hold 3 to 4 times its volume in water. So it sets you up for the optimum conditions to start a seedling and have it grow rapidly. And I can usually plant the seeds and have them in the tower in about a week and a half, and they grow to harvest within 4 weeks. It's amazing how quickly you can eat off of this tower. And one of the things that you want to watch is when your plants are ready to go, they will bolt or flower. And I'm going to turn the tower around real quick. I don't know if you can see this. This girl down here is starting to bolt, meaning like she's reaching for the sky. And you can see how I harvested off of the bottom of this for a very long time. There was a whole lot more down here that I've eaten off of already. And one of the things I want to show you is the magnificent root system that these plants develop because they've gotten oxygen and water and nutrients on such a regular basis. So I'm going to pull this out if you give me just a second. Very gentle. root system that's been growing inside the tower. And it's positively amazing. It even smells nice. And what's funny is, like when I grow Swiss chard, the roots have, the red and the blue, the colors in it that the plant has. And all of the roots always smell just like the plants. So these are amazingly healthy, beautiful plants. And I absolutely love growing this way. And all I have to do is just pull these roots off, pull the plant out, wash this, and I can reuse this cradle and put the seedling in it. And I'll be doing that in just a little while after we're done. But I absolutely adore this way of growing. I set out on a mission to create a diet for myself that cancer won't thrive in. I had an experience with that years ago and decided that I was going to change my lifestyle 360 degrees. And I was introduced to the nutrition that goes along with this company prior to the Tower Garden. And it made such amazing changes in my life that I was so thrilled. And then I learned how to grow on the tower. So I can provide myself year round with all of the really dark, rich greens that I put in my smoothies and I eat all the time so that I maintain a very lovely alkaline environment in my body. And if that wasn't important enough to me, the thing that really resonates, because it's such a win-win, is that this is a huge bonus to the environment. If we can encourage more people to grow this way, we can positively impact the cleanliness of where we live in this world. I'm in North Carolina. Like I said, we don't have any water restrictions here, but when I first got married, we were in Monterey, California, and you had to water your yard at a certain time a day. You could only wash your car once, it was very, very tight on water. And this system uses 98% less water than growing in the ground. For example, if you grow a head of lettuce in the soil, it takes 25 gallons of water to grow that head of lettuce. Growing one in a tower garden requires 1 gallon of water because that water is recycling itself until it evaporates or the plant uses it, and it's much more efficient. Another bonus is it goes straight to your table from the tower. Containers and packaging that we get our food in are a part of more than 23% of what goes in the landfill. So for us not to have packaged food saves on recycling plastic and filling up our landfills. It's another win-win. 8% of the US's carbon footprint is from food. If you eat one meal that has produce in it, you're eating from food that's probably from at least 5 different countries. So you can imagine the shipping and the trucking, and then you driving to the store. If you grew just 20% of your own food, you could reduce by 68 pounds of CO2 per year. That's huge, just 20%. And last but not least, the way farmers are working today and positively saturating the soil with poison, we are really losing our bee populations. And without the pollinators, we don't get to stay here. So we really need to make huge changes in the way we provide ourselves with food so that we can fix some of these problems. And I'm really honored that I get to grow this way and do something good for the environment that does something good for me all at the same time. And one of the questions that came in, so I want to mention this, we are also very active in schools, and we have a fantastic program that provides the study work, the paperwork for you to study, curriculum, there it is, that provides the curriculum for ages, first grade through the end of 12th grade to help teach kids all about growing And my favorite saying by my hero is, "It's easier to grow healthy children than to fix broken men." And it's an honor to do it this way. And I'm so grateful to you for letting me talk to you tonight and showing you what I'm growing. So have a great night. I'm going to give it back to JoAnne.
Thank you, Beth. You can definitely already tell where some of our passions lie. And it's, again, it's an incredible venture to grow vertically. My story actually started about 15 years ago when I learned about the many benefits that fruits, vegetables, plants provide us in being healthier. And so it was an easy fit for me when I learned about the Tower Gardens for us to add it into our family for healthier food and healthier eating right outside of our back door. The more that I delved into learning a little bit about where our food grows and how our food is transported, as Beth mentioned, and also more so how quickly it's picked before it's at peak and how far it can travel to our groceries. So especially with a lot of us here on the East Coast, a lot of our produce comes all the way from the West Coast or from other countries and is handled by many, many hands before it actually gets into our groceries and has lost an abundant amount of nutrients before we ever purchase it. So it was an easy fit for us to add it into our back patio. And this is actually my tower, one of our towers. We now have 3 growing at our house and has a variety. So those of you that are here live, please step up after. We'd love to show you a little bit more about it if you want to see it a little bit closer. But we always grow things that we eat. And the neatest thing that Beth was sharing, I'm going to step just a little bit, is you can see the celery at the top. So we literally clip what we eat at a time. It's not, you don't have to harvest everything straight off of the tower. I make smoothies every day, so I clip spinach, I clip kale, just what I'm gonna eat that day. Same with the herbs that we're gonna cook with that night. And I will share too that one of my favorites about the tower, especially like with some of the herbs, is we've dried them, or you can actually freeze them. And then they're fresh to cook with, as soon, just like you're cutting them off of the tower. I am going to let you all now see a really quick video montage that we put together. Keep your eye on the lookout for the Tower Garden Home, which is the one that you heard Beth mention too. It's the 13 gallons, so you'll see the difference between what you see here and that in the video as well. How's that? Gives you a good overview, doesn't it? So the difference in the Tower Garden home that you saw in the picture and the Tower Garden Flex, which is what you see here, it's a little bit lighter in its materials that it's made. It's a 13-gallon reservoir instead of the 20-gallon that Anna explained about a little bit earlier. The Flex comes with 20 different ports, which is the standard right here, where the home version comes with that, but on the top has micronutrient section. So it adds 8 instead of 4, and you can grow micros on that. So the home one is really made for, and Beth shared this about the lights, it's really made for juicing, cooking herbs, lettuces, things like that inside. And then the Flex is made when you have sunlight, you're going to have more vine growth. And so with the grow lights, only what hits the tower is where the growth comes into. So that's the big difference. And you can easily take this, like you see with Beth's tower in North Carolina, she added the grow light. So it's a separate addition, accessory that you can add on to it as well. So I am going to open it up for questions. I know that we've got some possibly on the chat. And one of the neatest things I think for me about sharing about vertical gardening is that they pay for themselves quickly. And one of the most awesome things is that obviously you can customize this, accessorize it, how it's going to best suit where you are and what you want to grow. And for those of us on Zoom, this is mine again. And then being in Jacksonville, Florida on the north end, I was just sharing that recently, about a month ago, we had a little bit of a dip in temperatures. And so all I did was roll my towers a little bit closer to the house, and I actually just put a sheet over them and they were fine. So, but you can see when we have some iffy weather in Florida sometimes, with the dolly, which I highly recommend when you purchase one, is just roll it inside and it's safe. So let's open it up now and see how we can answer some of the questions that you may have, and then we'll wind it up.
That's great. Thank you so much, JoAnne. Okay, so I know we have a mic in the audience right there. So if you can think of your questions, I'm going to go ahead and pose some of the ones from Zoom while you're thinking of your questions here in the audience, and we'll try to coordinate going back and forth. And is it Sari? Sari has been answering questions in the Zoom, and we're very grateful to that, for that. Thank you, Sari. But we're also going to ask some so that everybody can get the benefit of them. And so one of them was, do you have to rotate the tower at all? Which I thought was a good question.
It's a great question. So our patio sits east-west. So you want, either north, south, east, west, it's going to get the different times of the day zone. So outdoor growing is 5 hours. It needs 5 hours of sunlight minimum a day. And so with the indoor or grow lights on your tower, the grow lights maintain it, so there's no need for rotation. So that answers that question.
Okay. And there's a question that says, I'm not familiar with this, but can you use seeds from the big store for variety? Are you familiar with the big store? I'm not sure what that is.
So yes, I'm going to say big store, maybe meaning like a Home Depot or Lowe's and their seed section. So yes, the more organic, the better. Actually on the table here for those live with us tonight, Anna was mentioning it too. There's a lot of you may be familiar with, but the recommended seed pack company that Tower Garden recommends is Johnny Seeds. JohnnySeeds.com. So that's, if you're going to do it from seed grow, Johnny Seeds is the recommended. I also brought a list that's in a frame over here, and it's actually, or I have it up here, is a list of the certified seedling providers across the United States. We're fortunate to have a certified seedling provider actually in our area as well. They all ship. Usually it's within FedEx in 2 days. I will say that I do order seedlings more than I grow seeds because it's a quicker variety grow for me. So I can go on and order, 5 kales because I freeze kale after I grow it. I can grow 2 broccoli. So I can order a seedling pack and it comes within 2 days and it's ready to plant. So there's providers all over the United States. It's pretty impressive. Tower Garden nurseries are pretty impressive, and then what grows and what you can buy from. So yes, to the big box stores, I would say organic seeds if you're going that route. And yes, that is easily planted into the Rockwool as well.
Great. We have lots of questions about pests, and if you should get some, how do you treat them?
Great question. So again, being in Florida, and Anna and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, we had the privilege a couple of years ago of actually hearing Tim Blank speak. And Tim Blank, for those of any of you who have gone to Epcot, to Futureland, Tim Blank started his career as an intern there and actually moved forward in his specialty with aeroponic gardening and created the Tower Garden. So Juice Plus was lucky that they partnered together, and Juice Plus is now the parent company of the Tower Gardens, and Tim Blank still acts as the acting chief of that division of the company. So he lives in Orlando, and we had the privilege of seeing him at a beach event here. And his trick that he shared, especially for those in warmer climates, is a lot of the pests and the insects come from moth. You know, if you think about moths and dropping eggs, and he said that the trick that he does is either at night or in the morning, every day he rinses off his tower. It's just a hose and rinsing it off. And I was actually sharing with Denise, I had not heard that when I started growing early on my years. And I had a friend, we'll call him a friend because I'll be nice, but I had a hornworm, my first experience also with the hornworm, not such good friends. But I learned after that they form because of the seed, the eggs dropping and then sticking to your plants. So once Tim Blank shared that, I've not had any problems with anything growing, but I do stay religious at making sure, especially in the warmer months, to rinse my tower off at night or do it again in the morning as well. And it usually is the cure. I will also say too, we have an incredible vertical gardening community, and there are chemical-free pesticides, and I know a lot of you too with neem oil and sprays like that work effectively as well, but I have not ever had to take that route. I will say that the rinsing part has worked the best.
Great. I'm going to do one more question, and then hopefully you have some questions out there in the audience. Does the inside tower create a humidity issue because Florida?
No. And you'll be able to tell it. Everything stays internal in the aeroponic, so there's really not any moisture give off. You know, there's no excess port that's going to for anything to come out of that way.
Do we have any questions out in the audience yet? All right, I'm going to keep taking these here and start thinking. All right, everybody just wants to buy one right now. So do you have to use distilled water?
Another great question. So in the montage video, also a trick that we learned, you saw in the video the water reservoirs being filled. So there's a water filter, an RV filter, basically. It's an RV filter. The brand that we've favored is Camco. You can order them on Amazon, and you just attach it to your hose, and it takes out the chlorine, takes out sediments, and that's what we use to fill ours. So no distilled water. Like today, though, I did use bottled water to fill this just to run it for tonight, or I can fill it from the hose that I have the filter on. So you do want a little bit of a cleaner level of water.
Okay. And how often do you have to fill it?
Summer months in Florida, depending on the size of your grow, we check all year round, we check our water levels and our pH once a week. And you also saw the pH strip that Anna talked about that's in the kit. So you want to stay in like that 6.5 range at all times. So once a week, we kind of have it as our Sunday tradition that we check our water levels and we check our pH. Summertime, especially in our area, warmer is going to evaporate, and it's going to evaporate more when you have a little bit bigger grow, like Beth showed you with the roots. It's straight up water. So I would say to you, we probably add water once a week, once every 2 weeks during the summer months, and you add nutrients in as you do that. So it's all in your instructions, and again, easily accessed with any of us to help with that as well.
So we've had several questions about what kinds of things can you grow, and specifically somebody's asking about okra.
I would almost turn that back over to Beth if she's still on.
All right, and I'm going to add
Beth,
her.
Yeah, Beth is a big okra person, so I'll let her pop in on that one too, because she's grown okra.
Hi there, Beth.
You can absolutely grow okra. It just grows tremendously. The only thing you have to watch for with okra is to make sure your stalk doesn't get too big and start pushing on your tower. But yes, I've grown okra every summer, and it doesn't get in the house because I pluck it off and eat it. It tastes amazing.
We had some questions about root vegetables, if that's possible.
No. The tower will grow anything that has roots like I showed you. So radishes and potatoes and anything with a tuber doesn't work in the port. But there's a whole lot of other things that you can grow.
Thank you. For greater variety of plants, should you plan to get an outdoor tower rather than an indoor tower? So weighing the two possibilities.
I like both. So I think it depends on what you like to cook with, and juice, smoothie, things like that would probably be my question back to that person. The vine is the big question. So like Anna said, she's grown watermelon, cauliflower, broccoli, things like that are going to do better outside because they're going to have full sun and the vines can grow. So that is the big difference between the indoor and outdoor.
Also, you can take the Flex outdoor garden and take it inside and get grow lights to grow inside as well. And then it's versatile either way.
Great. So we brought Sarah on so that everybody can see you as well.
Sorry,
Great. So,
I've been typing in the chat, but you guys are asking such great questions, and people are privately, chatting with me. So, but they're asking really good questions. So, and Sheila had asked that question, and that's just a great question. But you can get the Tower Garden Flex, grow outdoors, but you can also take it indoors and get the grow lights and grow. It'd be very versatile that way if you choose to do that.
well, we do have a question in the audience here.
Hi, so we tried growing watermelon and they didn't really thrive. So do you have any tips for growing vine plants on your lettuce grow?
You know what, like I said, my watermelon was a little bit like a jack and a beanstalk. The neighbors would come by and it would be quite a conversation piece. It probably was as long as this table right here. We had about 5 watermelons on it. So had the hurricane at the time not destroyed the plant, we would have had 5 mature, delicious watermelons on it. But again, it was the weather that got that particular plant, but it was amazing. I actually have on my Facebook page, and it grew from here to here in like a week. So I think it's just if you can protect it from a nice Florida hurricane.
We have another question back here.
Hi, thanks, Damien. I'm really interested in heirloom veggies, fruits and veggies, and I was just wondering how sustainable do you save your seeds? I noticed you mentioned Johnny seeds. Is that a type of seed that will actually, are they sterile or will they reproduce?
I didn't quite hear that question.
Save your seeds, and if you could replant your seeds?
Oh, save the seeds.
Yes, because I know that some of them are sterile in the big market stores. So I was just wondering if your supplier Johnny seeds, are they heirloom?
I'm going to let JoAnne
Yes.
answer that question.
Thank you.
Question has a little bit.
So johnnyseeds.com, if you go on their website, phenomenal seed distributor.
Come on into the camera, would
Sorry.
you? Thank you.
So the interesting thing with, I think this may answer your question, and I want to go back to the watermelon afterwards. We'll go back and talk about that, is that the instructions on your seed pack and for the Rockwool is sometimes it's only 2 or 3 seeds per hole. So you're always going to have, in your seed pack, you're going to have some extras. Is that answering the question? So, and those will continue. Once it's planted in the tower like this,
I
Saving
want to
seeds.
share one thing about the Johnny.
So once you've grown something, saving the seeds and then using those seeds in your tower?
Yes. So yes, I actually did it with celery. So yes, somebody gave me a challenge and I took the bottom of celery that I bought from a grocery store and I actually put it straight into the net pot without the Rockwool. I just put it straight in and it rooted. So yes, there's all kinds of tricks to try that. I think that's answering that question. So yes, you could do that. It'd be fun to see. The biggest with the seed part of it is same as what Anna was talking about, is you're going to want to still let it germinate. And so what we do with the seed the germinating tray, or you can do it in a baking pan, is you want to use a little bit of the nutrient blend and just bottled water, keep the Rockwool moist and with the vermiculite on it and see if it sprouts. That would be a great, that's the fun part about some of the experimenting with it.
I have a question for you. Are you talking about like a tomato seed? There you go. So once the tomato has grown, can you save the seed and then replant it so that it's an heirloom tomato? So I think that's the question.
Yeah, it would be interesting to try. I would definitely say, I think it's neat to see, and I think it probably would, but I have not tried that, but it would be a great experiment to try.
All right, we have someone who's interested in the nutrient information for the vegetables that you grow in the tower. Do you have any information like that?
Everything, yes. So Sari, I know I keep turning around because I want her to see me, so Sari's behind me. And Sari and I talked about this yesterday. I know it's okay. I'm going to learn Zoom at some point before it's all over. But this is an organic blend, so everything's no chemical. So it's an organic blend that was made specifically for the tower gardens. So we do have an ingredient slide that I can share with that person later, or Sari can share it as well, that shows a little bit more about this.
Great.
And I will share one other thing about that I had put in the chat, that this is a one size fits all fertilizer that the tonic is. There's over 60 ionic trace minerals that are important to the human health that are in that. And actually the University of Mississippi, which is the home of the FDA National Center for Natural Products Research, did a study on it. And it was a side-by-side study comparing the tower garden with some of the best possible soil conditions on earth. And both the mineral content and the phytonutrient content were tested in the harvested produce. And the tower garden performed equal or better on every test across the board. So I just wanted to share that because that was coming up a couple of times in the chat as well.
That's great. Thank you. We have someone who says, I think this is Christine, says, I lived in Alaska for a summer and the sun shined 24/7. Can you sun all day and leave the lights on all night and have larger, better veggies? Maybe?
Sari, I may let you take that one too. That's a good question. I'm going to say, because it's inside, I would think in Alaska, the tower garden would be inside. So the lights are on a timer. So they will regulate the comings and goings of the grow. So everything's, I don't think it's going to be an outside tower in Alaska. But anyhow, it would be grow lights and everything's on a timer. The watering system's on a timer and so are the grow lights.
Good to know. I'm thinking about Alaska-sized vegetables. Have you tried using coconut core pellets instead of Rockwool?
Beth, Sari, go ahead. I see you nodding.
No, I know True Gardens, like someone asked about seedling providers. So there is a local seedling provider in Jacksonville. But also True Gardens, I think they use the coconut. There's different, I haven't used that before. I've only used the Rockwool. But there are a variety of seedling providers. And I just want to share something else. You guys are, again, just asking awesome questions that someone asked, like, when you get started, is there videos to start and, how do you get going? And JoAnne or Beth or Anna will help you guys with getting started and give you guys customer service that way, as well as there is a Facebook community page that will be very helpful. There's videos and you will be led in the right direction. Just know if you want to purchase a tower, you will have amazing customer care and information to help you get growing. And someone else had asked JoAnne about the pricing and customizing the towers. So can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Again, one of my favorites about that tower is it pays for itself quickly. Depending on the size of your family, how much you eat off of it, the return comes very, very fast. And the pricing really is based on how you customize it. There's a standard tower, the dolly is additional, but that's one of my favorites to add on. The microgreen extensions, building up in the tower can do, like you heard Anna, she actually added 8 more ports by 2 sections that she added to hers outside. When you go higher than that, which in commercial grade, you'll see in tower garden nurseries, some restaurants now, rooftop gardens, when you go higher than that, you get into a commercial grade pump. You have to get into a more forceful pump to push the water through the tower. So again, those of you that are live, if you wanted to come take a peek at it, you can see, I'm going to step back so you can maybe on Zoom can see it too. But I've got the shower cap off and the water actually comes up to the top. It pushes up from the bottom and then trickles down in between the ports to water. So that would be the big difference on, you know, again, just customizing it and going from there.
We have a question. Are there fewer pest issues if the tower is on a screened-in porch rather than out in the open? She says, hopefully.
Yes, yes. The only trick on the screened-in porch is the lighting. So you have to make sure that you're getting some good direct sun on the screened-in porch. If not, then you would want to add the grow lights to it just to make sure that you're getting full sun that it needs for that 5-hour period.
Great. Any other questions out there in the audience? All right, I think that concludes this part of the program. We have a few more things that we want to share with you. So 1 second, let me share my screen. I got to make
I'm
sure.
going to interrupt you for just a minute. We are going to do, Denise and I talked earlier, we are going to
Yes.
do some door prizes. So be on the lookout probably on Thursday after we get everybody's names between Zoom and here, that we'll go live on the event page and announce a couple of door prize winners. And my contact information is here, and I also will share Anna and Beth's. So we are here to help. And during the month of February, because we're kicking off the grow season for spring, we are doing a free gift with purchase. And so feel free to reach out back to Denise. We also can post my contact information if you have any more questions on the Facebook page. And I've also, for those of us live here, have some brochures up here if you want to grab. And just thank you all for being here, and thank you for the opportunity to let us share.
Yes, we'll definitely be putting together a blog post with the recording and all of that. And yes, so anybody who registered for this program, you will be put on a list, and we will draw some names randomly from that list who will win door prizes. So stay tuned for that. We'll put that on the Facebook page, and we'll announce it also on the blog post that we put out this week as well. All right, so I'm going to share my screen once more here. Oh, wait, while we're not sharing screen, I want to do like a gallery view of everybody that's on Zoom. And let's see. And let's get you guys to kind of, at least one of you to come up there. And I'm just going to try to do like a little screen capture here. So hold on 1 second. Great, you guys look fabulous. I really appreciate that. All right, let me go back to speaker view and share my screen. And can we thank everybody who helped tell us about vertical gardening today? Thank you, JoAnne, Anna, Sari, and Beth. Everybody, great big round of applause. So great. I learned a lot. I'm interested and scared at the same time. So let's see, where am I? If this information, contact information for JoAnne will be in the blog post, and we'll send it out to everybody who registered as well. But Damien will add it to the chat in case you need it right away. And I'm going to tell you about a couple of things coming up at the Garden Club. We have the flower show series. If you are interested in entering a flower show, or maybe you just want to do it like the pros do, and Laura Haley is definitely a pro. She has been doing flower shows and judging flower shows and making amazing creations and floral displays for many, many years. She was our designer of distinction in 2020 before COVID. It's hard to imagine that that was a thing, but it is. And so she has the flower show series, Designing the Perfect Table, that's coming up on February 9th. It is a Zoom-only program, and we're really looking forward to that. Whoops, I just skipped over things. Camp Wakiva. You say Wakiva, I say Wakiva. I don't know how to pronounce it. I get it wrong every time. So Combined Circles is where all of our circles get together, but we invite everybody to take part. we have the woman who is in charge of Camp Wakaiva, who's going to be talking about what a great camp it is. It's a nature-oriented youth camp that the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs helps sponsor as part of the Department of Parks and Recreation in the state of Florida. That's on March 9th. Laura Haley comes back for the second of the flower show series, Contemporary Designs. Look at that. Is that weird and wonderful or what, right? That's a really cool design. And yeah, you could do that. So she'll show you how, March 11th. And our Budding Gardeners program, if you've never taken a child to our Budding Gardeners program, you really should. For children in grades 1 through 6, this is on March 13th. It's a Saturday morning. You're going to learn how to propagate plants using seeds, using cuttings, dividing plants. It's a really great way to get your child interested in growing things and what kids don't love to see, things grow and dig in the dirt. So check us out. That's also on our website. We have a DIY program where we invite professional designers to come and demonstrate eye-popping arrangements like this one here from Soulful Stems, and they'll be here in the house demonstrating, and it's a DIY thing. So you get the materials, you get to make it yourself and take it home. And this is being provided both in person for a small audience and also on Zoom. You can get your materials and do it along with them at home. That's March 23rd. We have a really great event called Blooms Galore More. There's a preview party on April 9th. We sell plants that all of our members grow, propagate in their backyards. There's plants that you wouldn't see anywhere else. So our whole parking lot gets filled with plants, and we invite a bunch of other people to come and do things as well. And we fill this ballroom, although it'll be much more socially spaced than it has been in the past, with vendors that sell environmentally themed things. It's going to be a very cool event. And so the preview party is April 9th, and the big event is on April 10th. And then the designer of distinction, this one is really great. She is Ashley Woodson Bailey. She's got international reputation, but she lives right here in Jacksonville. She is a floral arranger who also photographs her works and turns them into wallpaper and fabrics and really cool products. And she will be here May 13th. I believe that is it. Yes. So we do surveys for all of our programs. We really need your feedback. You will get one in the email that we send you after this program. And we're also going to put it on the chat in case you want to take it right now and tell us how great this program was, because I know you do. And I want to thank once again the Jessie Ball DuPont Fund for making programs like this possible. And I want to thank all of you here at the Garden Club, all of you at home on Zoom, and my partner in crime and colleague, Damian Lamar Robinson, for helping to make this program possible. Thank you all for being here, and have a great evening.